All right, this is the audience for my speech. Okay, this is the power of the mind. So mindfulness is becoming an increasingly popular method to manage chronic pain. And as more studies are being done, it seems more and more as though mindfulness is something that can be extremely effective in the absence of surgery or pharmaceutical drugs. So aside from the fact that I've done a lot of research on this topic, I have some personal experience with it actually. I've dealt with chronic wrist pain for about 2 years now, and I went to physical therapy, tried all that sort of stuff. Nothing was really helping until about a year ago. I read about this whole mindfulness thing and started, kind of practicing it on my own time. And it actually ended up helping a lot. And my wrist still flares up once in a while, but it's definitely made it more manageable and made me able to participate in more daily activities. So in this speech, I'll discuss the various ways in which one can practice mindfulness and the subsequent effects that it can have. I'll also delve into the research behind it, kind of explain how it works and the future implications on the medical field. So first I'll tell you about what mindfulness really means. Jon Kabat-Zinn, one of the world's leading mindfulness experts, says that mindfulness is awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. I want you to think about the last time you sat down and considered your feelings in a way that was practiced and intentional. For a lot of us, these moments are few and far between, and for some, they don't happen at all. Alternatively, think about the last time you experienced some kind of physical pain, and in that case, most of us can probably think of something within the last 24 hours or so. We've created a culture where people are incentivized to ignore their personal needs in favor of pursuing activities that are considered by our standards to be productive or useful in some way. However, a lot of this hinges on material valuations, and as such, a lot of people end up feeling run down or burnt out, thus decreasing their overall quality of life. The CDC reports that an estimated 25% of US adults experience chronic pain in a way that alters or limits their participation in daily activities. Furthermore, it's suspected that about 40% of this group experience comorbid mental health issues such as depression or anxiety. While chronic pain can cause these mental health issues in some cases, the reverse is also true. Both physical and psychological pain are communicated to the brain using the same set of neurotransmitters, which is why each can show up as a symptom of the other. This call and response type cycle is a lot more common than one would expect. The World Health Organization did a study of 1,146 patients from 14 different countries, all of whom met the criteria for major depressive disorder. And they found that about 69% of these people listed physical pain as the reason they went to the doctor in the first place and ended up being diagnosed with depression. Now let's take a look at the specifics of mindfulness and how it works. So mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in your environment and being able to notice your thoughts and feelings. Right now, I'd like you to take a moment to think to yourself, how do I really feel right now? What's going through my mind? Who am I surrounded by? The practice of mindfulness can take many different forms. While a lot of people often picture it as sitting cross-legged, like traditional meditation, that sort of thing, it's a lot more flexible than that. This means you can go on a walk or lie down or just find a quiet room where you can sit for a few minutes and examine your thoughts. Or if you're short on time, you can practice mindfulness while doing other things even, like brushing your teeth or folding laundry, just as long as you're being aware of what's going on around you. A lot of people believe that the idea of mindfulness is to clear the mind in order to make way for some sort of profound realization about like the meaning of life, something like that. But this isn't really the case. The point is really just to allow one's thoughts to flow naturally and to be able to examine them in a non-judgmental way. Simply being aware and present in the moment is enough to benefit from the practice of mindfulness. However, the eventual goal is to be able to separate one's thoughts from one's identity so that you can examine those thoughts, and if you're feeling something negative, they might not fully impact you personally. Now I'd like to explain the actual impact that this sort of practice can have on one's physical state of being. Research shows that mindfulness, when practiced intentionally and consistently, can have a profound impact on one's perception of their chronic pain. As I'm speaking, I'd like each of you to perform a short body scan. Start at the top of your head and focus on whatever sensations you may be feeling there. Maybe you've got an itch, or maybe it feels a little hot, or anything like that. Maybe you don't feel anything at all. The point really is just to focus on that, notice how you're feeling, and be able to move on from that. So now move down through the rest of your body and perform that same study. Think about how it is you're feeling in this moment. Body scans in particular are shown to be extremely effective. Although it's long been thought that this effectiveness was based on some sort of placebo effect or something like that, it's actually been shown recently that this is not the case. In a study published by Biological Psychiatry, it was shown that although sham meditational practices do work to some extent because of that placebo effect, proper practice mindfulness does actually reduce the activity of the brain receptors that are associated with physical pain and negative emotions. And our experience of pain has a lot to do with our expectations of what it will be and the emotions that are involved with that situation. So by altering our expectations of pain and by being able to examine them in a thoughtful way, we can reshape the way we experience it. In a study conducted by Dr. Fazel Zaidan, professor at UCSD, it was shown that the vast majority of patients are capable of decreasing or even fully eliminating their pain simply by taking the time to study it and sit with it and acknowledge the way it appears within their body. This just goes to show how powerful our minds are and how much we can accomplish when we take proper care of them. In review, mindfulness is something that has been practiced for thousands of years. However, it is only now that we are discovering the actual extent of its effects on our bodies and minds. As it turns out, this practice is extremely effective in allowing us to manage emotions and physical pain without the presence of pharmaceutical drugs or surgery, which saves us money, time, and then the risk of some dangerous addiction. So in closing, our minds are extremely powerful. Look at everything that surrounds us. We started our lives with trees and dirt and rocks and things like that, and now all of a sudden we've got Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and all this insane technology that surrounds us on a daily basis. If we can transform the world around us, there's no reason to believe we can't transform ourselves.